اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is talking with his companion Mouz ibn Jabal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And the hadith is recorded in the Sunan of Abi Dawood. And he says, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, Imran bayt al-Maqdis kharabu yatrib. Kharabu yatrib malhama. خروج الملحمة فتح القسطنطينية. فتح القسطنطينية خروج الدجال. And then he placed his hand on the knee of Mouz ibn Jabal and he said, this is as true as I am touching you, O kama qal. Umran bayt al-Maqdis. The hadith begins with Jerusalem. That when Bayt al-Maqdis or Jerusalem is Umran, it's built up, it's flourishing. I would also describe it as it is in a state of ascendancy, it's rising. Kharabu Yatrib. At that time looked to see Madina in ruins, in a state of forlorn desolation, going down. This one going up, that one going down. When that happens, then the next great event that will take place in the world would be the malhama. And there are Muslims who ask, what is malhama? We have become so far away from knowledge of our deen that some people ask, what is malhama? Is it a kind of jam? Murabba? Malhama is what the Christians refer to as Armageddon. The great war, the big war. The war of all wars. One of the major signs of the last day, and you know that there are 10, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ were sitting talking amongst themselves, hadith of Sahih Muslim, when he came and he asked, what are you talking about? And they said, we are talking about a'lamatu sa'a, the signs of the last day, of the end time. And then he said, as only a prophet could say, the last day would not come until, and then he mentioned 10 signs. These have come to be known as the major signs. Number 4, dukhan, smoke. And the Quran says that one day it's going to be plainly visible in the sky. So of these 10, I want to turn to the smoke. A nuclear war would be one in which nuclear powers will use every single nuclear weapon that they possibly can use, because it's going to be a fight to the finish. And so the world can now expect that if a nuclear war were to take place, excuse me, too late now to say if, rather it should be when the nuclear war takes place. The only ones who don't know that the nuclear war is coming are those, Roti Chanai, Tetari people. When the nuclear war takes place, because they've already declared war on Russia. If you're living in France and Britain and in Western Europe, and if you don't know that your leaders have declared war on Russia, and the nuclear war is now inevitable, and when that nuclear war takes place, that thousands of nuclear weapons will explode. If you don't know that, then you are living in dreamland. And if you hope to survive in Western Europe, you're also living in dreamland. That's the price you pay for having Zionist rulers ruling over you. That's the price. I hope you're listening to me, Europe. I hope you're listening to me in Europe. And I hope you're listening to me in the United States and Canada. That is the price that you will pay for having those ruling over you, who are ruling on behalf of the Zionists. Who are Zionists? Because they have declared war on Russia. And the nuclear war is now inevitable. When it does take place, then I want to suggest to you tonight that the mushroom clouds which come from nuclear explosions, which will probably blot out sunlight, so that there will be no sunlight in the world. For how long, I don't know. The Christians speak of 3 days and 3 nights of no sunlight, but there's a hadith which speaks of 40. This is not my field. I want to suggest to you tonight, for you to think about it, that when the Prophet ﷺ spoke about smoke, dukhan, is one of the signs of the last day, that he was referring to the mushroom clouds which will come from nuclear war, the malhama. So if you live in the cities, it's going to be anarchy. It's going to be hell in the cities. And on that day when hell breaks out in the towns and cities, on that day when all hell breaks out in the towns and cities, then you will remember Suratul Isra, where Allah says, وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُوهَا قَبْلَ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُوهَا عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا كَانَ ذَلِكَ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَسْطُورًا. And not a single town and city will escape. We will destroy them all. And those which are not destroyed will be punished with terrible, terrible punishment. And this is something inscribed in the book.
ربنا اكشف عنا العذاب إنا مؤمنون.
Now, we therefore begin with Jerusalem, and we have to look to see Jerusalem rising. I wrote this book 13, 14 years ago, Jerusalem in the Quran, and we don't have the time tonight to go through the subject again, to trace the movement of Jerusalem, but we have this book in Bahasa as well, although many of you prefer to read it in English than in Bahasa, Malay. We don't have the time to trace the movement. That the Jews had been expelled, they had been in exile for 2,000 years. And then, stage one, Jerusalem is conquered. For them it was liberated. Stage two, the Jews come back to reclaim Jerusalem as their own. It's rising, isn't it? It's rising. Stage three, a state of Israel is restored in the Holy Land. It's rising. And now, except for those who are just eating roti canai and drinking teh tarik, the rest of us know that Israel controls the United States Congress. And any American president that steps out of line, like John F. Kennedy, you know what happens to them. You know how they respond, don't you? You know how they respond, don't you? So this is evidence that Jerusalem is not only rising and ascending, it's way up. How much further must it go up? Must Israel replace the United States as the next ruling state in the world? Must Pax Judaica replace Pax Americana, as Pax Americana had replaced Pax Britannica? Before the stage is set, we know that Medina is in ruins today.